Cutting $2 trillion from the federal budget is going to take absolute bollocks. Hello, Bev Turner here from GBNews. And if I look a little smug, I apologise. No, I don't. I am not sorry at all, because the karmic winds of change which are blowing across America right now are a marvellous vindication for anyone who held the line over the madness of spring 2020 onwards. Incoming President Trump is putting all the right people in all the right places. All the absolute bloody heroes who lost their hard-earned reputations and in some cases even their jobs are suddenly, with the wave of a Trumpian wand, commanding genuine influence and power. These are my people. And I know that millions of you out there feel the same. So should we bask in a little jacuzzi of self-satisfaction as the bubbles of redemption cleanse our troubled souls? Let's dive in and have a look at the dream team that has establishment media, big food and big pharma quaking in their unscrupulous boots of commercial manipulation. This is a health revolution. Firstly, the world's fittest 70-year-old who just happens to have spent decades as a lawyer cleaning up rivers as well as corporate corruption, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., also happens to hail from the world's most famous political dynasty, and he possesses more integrity in his biceps than the whole Biden administration could muster between them, in my opinion. His endorsement of Trump during the election campaign in August should not be underestimated. It made those people who were a bit shaky on Donald Trump, the person depicted in the mainstream media, of course, it made those people sit right up and go, oh, you want Bobby Kennedy on side? Oh, you definitely are one of the good guys. Kennedy has calm, where you might think Trump has the ability to flirt with chaos. Robert Kennedy thinks carefully before he speaks. All of his assessments on health and medicine are based in scientific fact and predicated on the most reliable data. He was asking for transparency on vaccine safety decades before the rest of the world caught on. We had to literally have the damn things forced upon us to go to a restaurant before most of us wondered about the risk versus benefit of state-sponsored vaccines. But Robert Kennedy had been researching that industry for years via the Children's Health Defense non-profit activist group, which was founded way back in 2007. Now he'll be heading up the Department of Health and Human Services, which is like something from a dream for anybody who's followed his courageously outspoken path over the last 4 years. Joe Biden, with Fauci in his decrepit ear, named Kennedy as one of the disinformation dozen during the pandemic. He was deplatformed, he was cancelled and subject to the most extreme campaign of character assassination. Kennedy believes that if you fix a nation's health via good food and an active lifestyle, you fix mental health, the workplace, the economy, and the health system. He is going to have to take on the vast manipulative forces of the health regulatory agencies, the fake food industry, and the pharmaceutical giants who benefit, of course, from a sick world. These entities will not go down without a fight, and I genuinely worry for the safety of Bobby Kennedy. His rise from social outcast to a person of significant power is one of the most remarkable stories of our age, and although he has a mountain to climb, he embodies hope, and that means that we should all sleep a little better at night. Alongside Kennedy in health are going to be lesser-known individuals perhaps across the world, but they all still pack a punch when it comes to integrity and greater transparency from the world of medicine and health. Dr. Marty Makary is a British-American surgeon from Johns Hopkins University. He's going to take the reins at the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. He wrote Blind Spots, When Medicine Gets It Wrong and What It Means for Our Health, indicating quite clearly that he's not neck deep in the old-fashioned world of hospital corridors, where medics are too scared to call out inherent contradictions or corruption. Dr. David Weldon will be the new director of the CDC. Now, here's a man who could be the bullet in RFK Jr.'s gun when it comes to shining a light on vaccine safety research. In 2007, He wanted to lessen the CDC's responsibility for vaccine safety, claiming that there were too many conflicts of interest. He possesses a highly old-fashioned view that children's immune systems are powerful, and we should remember that natural immunity should play a role in child health decisions. Radical in 2024. And to round out the health team, there's also Dr. Mehmet Oz, taking charge of Medicare and Medicaid. Now, Trump says Oz will cut waste and fraud and take on the illness industrial complex. Made famous by Oprah Winfrey, I bet she's regretting that now, such is the mainstream media backlash against Dr. Oz because he is someone who advocates natural remedies alongside clinical options. It is almost impossible to find positive media articles written recently about Dr. Oz. He is sneered at, he is derided, he's written off as a quack. And seeing a man like this have a chance to turn the tables is just divine. But Trump's not stopping at healthcare. He's creating a whole new department of government efficiency, or DOGE for short. And who better to lead it than Elon bloody Musk and Vivek Bloomin' Ramaswamy? Cutting $2 trillion from the federal budget is going to take absolute bollocks. And who better to do it than these two? Fearless, successful, and with proven track records of streamlining flabby businesses. I can even forgive Musk his weird phallic rocket obsession if it means that he keeps free speech at the very top of the political agenda and spends taxpayer dollars more wisely. And now for the greatest woman in politics today. Do not tell me that Donald Trump has a woman problem when he has assigned one of the most important roles to Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence. Tulsi Gabbard was lined up as a potential leader of the Democrats until she said that maybe, just maybe, there were two sides to the story in Ukraine, that maybe there was some nuance, and at the very forefront of activity in the region should be dialogue to stop young men dying. Well, that was always going to be the end of her. She left the Democrats with a parting shot worthy of a woman who looks like this with a gun. She said that the Democrats are under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers driven by cowardly wokeness. And just to pop a final cap in their ass, she accused the party of stoking anti-white racism. The 43-year-old talks about war in a manner that is truly unprecedented in the modern world. She explains that it is not the men making decisions about war who will be on the front line. It isn't even their children, she says. It's the children of regular people who will be trotted out as cannon fodder. Here's a taster of her refreshing take on conflict.
When you peel kind of below the surface and the reason why they're supporting Kamala Harris, Liz and Dick Cheney specifically, but even others like Adam Kinzinger and others, you really understand why. And President Trump's criticism of Liz Cheney the other day, and Dick Cheney for that matter, was really pointing out the fact that people like them are very quick and easy to advocate for starting a new war in another place and send our troops, my brothers and sisters in uniform, into harm's way. But they themselves have never and will never volunteer to put their own lives on the lines, to go and participate in or fight in these military adventures that they're advocating for. That was his point. And it's the reason why we see them supporting Kamala Harris, because President Trump, time and time again, has said, look, his goal is to end wars, not start them.
So rather than presume that America is the global referee of all war to be bowed down to without question, Tulsi Gabbard has queried the wisdom of US involvement in foreign conflicts where there is no discernible strategic interest for the USA. The former congresswoman and soldier who served a 12-month tour in Iraq gives the clear impression that she will be unpersuaded by bomb makers urging her party into profitable wars and will always put the needs of Americans first. Raised in Hawaii, she's also an excellent surfer, which, let's be honest, that alone sets her apart from the creaky old relics who sit on the benches in the House of Commons. Gabbard was a freedom fighter during the pandemic and a fierce critic of vaccine mandates. Tulsi, I salute you and your vibrant take on life. And finally, the legendary Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, the new director of the National Institute of Health. He was a key author of the Great Barrington Declaration, the powerful statement signed by thousands of world-renowned doctors in 2020, which should have formed the advisory basis for the COVID years. Bhattacharya advocated the existing pandemic preparedness plan, which was to protect the vulnerable and to let the young and healthy live free. But he was instantaneously discredited in a series of emails between Dr. Fauci and the director of the NIH at the time, Francis Collins. Bhattacharya of Stanford University and his fellow experts from Oxford and Harvard had to be widely discredited if the pandemic and the vaccine projects were to succeed at the hands of their controllers. His group had to be silenced and suffered blanket criticism from the media. Bhattacharya now has Francis Collins's old job, proving that the universe does reward those who do the right thing and hold their line. Bhattacharya was a kind and compassionate voice of reason in the midst of pandemic hysteria. What we're seeing here, folks, is nothing short of a revolution. Trump is assembling a team of outsiders, of people who aren't afraid to challenge the status quo. These are individuals who were vilified and continue to be criticised by the mainstream media. They've been called conspiracy theorists. They've been called anti-science and anti-vaxxers for daring to just ask questions. But isn't that what science is always all about? Asking questions, challenging assumptions, and following the evidence wherever that leads. These appointments signal a return to true scientific inquiry, to open debate and discussion. You get the sense that these people will put America first and focus on the needs of ordinary Americans rather than the whims of the global elite. And where America goes, the UK often follows. We can but hope that this wheel of change makes its way all the way over here. Now, of course, there will be challenges. The establishment will not go down without a fight. The media is already working overtime to discredit these appointments. But here's to a new administration, to the mavericks and the free thinkers who are about to shake things up in Washington and cause ripples across the whole world. It is going to be a wild ride, but I, for one, cannot wait to see what happens next. This is Bev Turner, signing off from GB News. Remember, question everything, never be afraid to swim against the tide, and maybe America will one day be made great again. Stay vigilant. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to the GB News YouTube channel, to like and comment and share this video. And I'll see you next time.